Hey everyone, welcome to the Gaming X. Today we're taking a look at Hello Kitty Kruisers on the Nintendo Switch. And well, if this isn't dedication to the channel, I don't know what is, because I went out, I spent my own money on this one so I could bring this video to you today. Now remember to hit subscribe, it truly is appreciated, it continues to help this channel grow, and I really do appreciate the support from the community. With that being said, am I saving you from a painfully bad game, or is this one actually a worthy pickup? Let's find out. So I want to start this review slightly differently with the history of this title and a reason why you may want to pick this one up now. That is at least outside of Hello Kitty fandom, of course, and the core game itself. So what do I mean by this? Well, this was originally an iPhone and Android cart title that made its way to the Wii U. It was available both digitally and physically, but this physical release was a very small run priced around the $20 price point. This led to Hello Kitty Kruisers becoming an absolute pain to pick up, and it's now one of the rarest Wii U games in its catalogue, behind a Hyrule Warriors Special Edition and a Mario Kart Limited Edition. At the time of this video, in fact, you're going to find yourself paying around $40 for a disc-only version, and it still amazes me that people lose cases to CD-based games, $80 for a boxed copy, or north of $200 for a brand new sealed variant. I'm confident in believing this one could easily end up in a similar position for the Switch catalogue in a few years, and honestly, for collectors, I wouldn't risk not grabbing this one immediately. Even a second time around, I can't imagine we're going to find ourselves with a huge print ahead of us. To actually support this theory, or at least potentially, I actually went into GameStop today and they told me they only received one single copy into the store. Now with that out of the way, let's talk about the game, starting with graphics. I want to get it straight here, it's actually not too bad. Having played the Wii U version, there's not a huge difference, but there's some decent tweaks in here. We have a slightly improved frame rate, well, at times at least, a slightly upped resolution as we should expect, and they've also changed the colour palette just slightly with more pronounced outlines, which provides a nice cel shaded style to the entire game. It does, to be fair, look quite a bit better than the original Wii U release, and the cel shaded definition, it matches the low texture detail. Now for its target audience, it has bright colours, a selection of 10 characters pulled straight from the Hello Kitty universe, and there's some nice if basic vehicle models. These vehicles, they comprise of cars, boats and planes, each with different colour schemes and designs. Then we have the 16 tracks, and well, it continues this trend. They're basic to look at, but there's some nice fan service in here. The sculptures of popular characters on roadsides, and there's definitely some locations fans will no doubt recognise. Unfortunately though, it does only contain 5 background worlds, so these will get old quickly, very quickly, and you'll honestly struggle to notice the difference from track to track. Also, they could have been a bit more subtle with the Rainbow Road ripoff direct from Mario Kart, though I did enjoy the meteorites that appear to be flying potatoes. With this all being said though, and if we ain't making excuses based upon the license, these are just not up to par or what we should expect from a Switch game. It's not awful, and there's that nice almost cel shaded vibe to the entire experience, but I doubt this would have ever been considered good on the Wii U, and I think younger gamers now, they do expect more, and rightly so. As you'll probably expect, we found a number of other graphical glitches throughout as well. First, that frame rate I mentioned, which it may not be apparent in this video, but the FPS, it just kept stuttering throughout my races. It's a surprise when you can see just how slow this game is going. Even the commercial itself, it showed some frame rate issues, so you can see the effort that was going in here. Basically, it's not exactly pushing the Switch to its limits, so missing a locked 60 frames per second just amazes me. Then the weapons and the animation, it's just simply non-existent. They just kind of like pop up on screen with zero fanfare, and they disappear as quickly into the surrounding environment. On top of this, when I did hit a competitive racer, which honestly wasn't very often because it was never ahead of me, it just never felt like any actual collision took place. Then we have the obstacles, which you drive just straight through. They don't even stop you, they just kind of send you spinning out. They literally missed the essence of what an obstacle is supposed to do. Finally, and while it didn't actually occur directly to my vehicle at least, on a number of occasions I would see AI opponents stuck and literally embedded into the scenery surrounding the track. This was a no doubt decent looking cell phone game on release, but now it's simply a poor looking game with numerous bugs, but at least with a HD overlay. So gameplay, and it's an interesting one. When talking about this title, I want to make sure I'm addressing it for its target audience, and let me tell you now, if I haven't already made this clear, that's a very young audience. Anyone probably over the age of roughly 6 will breeze through the content presented here. The difficulty is simply non-existent. It runs at an absolute snail's pace no matter the vehicle you use, and I was still somehow lapping other racers on every single track. Slowing the speed, it was clearly an attempt to make it accessible for these younger gamers, but a few difficulty options here would have gone a long way to opening the door for the millions of Hello Kitty fans out there. Now when it does come to the controls, I will at least say they're generally responsive throughout. They've channeled Diddy Kong Racing here, which in my opinion at least, is one of the very best in the kart genre. I would have liked to have seen some variance in the feel of the vehicles though, with the multiple options, but they all control the same no matter the character you choose or the car, plane or boat. To sum up the controls between vehicles, the cars and planes, they control fine, but the boats here are just simply put terrible, and essentially it's a car with drift permanently enabled. Not only was you going slow already, but now you have to put your brakes on for pretty much every single turn you face in the game. They just can't handle the angle. When it comes to the content, it's a very light package. In single player, you're going to find 4 tours, each containing 4 tracks with 3 laps making up each. Unfortunately though, these laps take 60 seconds each at the very most. So, well, you can do the maths here. 16 tracks that take 3 minutes a piece maximum. It's not exactly gonna have you glued to your TV for long, that's for sure. Fortunately, I will at least say Hello Kitty Kruisers, it does contain adventure mode as well, which is essentially a challenge mode where you have to clear X amount of gates, collect X amount of pickups, or beat a time attack mode. There's not much variance here, but it's a great addition for younger kids out there, and it's also a nice stepping stone to learning the controls and gameplay as they build up to these races. It's even actually a nice entry point for younger kids picking up a Switch for the first time and simply just getting used to the unit itself, especially when it comes to the handheld mode. Then finally we have multiplayer, and it's local and up to 4 players only. It's another way for audiences to keep this game going, but don't expect to get online playing this one. I honestly doubt though, it definitely wouldn't have been a game changer, and I can honestly see why it wasn't included. The target market is not an online gaming crowd. When it comes to issues, one I did notice consistently was the AI itself. Not only is it about as simplistic as it gets for challenge, but they appear to have issues when navigating the tracks. I found everything from competitive cars driving headfirst into walls, to trying to correct themselves and proceeding to tackle the track the wrong way. Finally, when it comes to enemies and their weapons, through my playthrough I didn't get hit a single time, and that just again reinforces that difficulty you'll find here. The gameplay, I'll say it's not too bad, but it's for sure not without its issues, that's a certainty. AI bugs plague the game, and the lack of any difficulty makes this one closed off to a wider audience. It's a miss for a franchise that appeals to probably now more adults than kids. Okay, so sound and music in this piece, it's going to be super quick. Sound is some minor effects for engines, collisions and characters. It's largely underdeveloped, but there's enough in here to match the minimal amount of game. They don't always match what's happening on screen though. When I was in the boats, I found that I was hearing tyres screech. This happened in the planes as well. Additionally, when I was slowing down, I could hear the engine revving. There's some really unusual moments in this game when it comes to that sound field. Then the music, and it's repetitive. It's annoying from the very beginning, and it's simply on repeat. The target market won't care, they won't notice, but parents and adults in the background, you may want to mute this one before you even let them begin playing. I'd at least turn the volume down. That's going to be a good start for you. The sound, the music, it's by far the weakest part of this entire package, and that's saying a lot. So the final verdict, and as I said, for me, the collector in me made me pick this one up, just based on the rarity of the Wii U release. This may even be a good fit for those die-hard Hello Kitty fans, just don't go in expecting a lot. For everyone else out there above 6, you're going to be best avoiding this one because it simply wasn't designed for you. Reviewing this one with the target audience in mind, however, I want to say it's at least not, well, awful. I would always put Mario Kart first, no matter the age of the player, but there even the entry level difficulty is above this one, so I can see that there is somewhat a small market it caters to. Additionally though, if you do have kids above 6 or in their teens, this is also a good option if you simply hate your child and you want some form of revenge on them, then this is perhaps as good as it will ever get for you. Overall though, the graphics, they're below average, the gameplay is hit and miss meaning the boats especially, and then the tracks simply get repetitive and there's just generally very little content here. The Gaming X awards Hello Kitty Kruisers a simply below average 3 out of 10. For fans and youngsters, the inclusion of the Hello Kitty characters, they might just be enough that you could find some enjoyment in here. For collectors who are going for a full set, then get it, you don't need me to tell you that. But for those collectors that only want good games, definitely don't go and pick this one up. Thanks so much for watching, we truly do appreciate it. We went out, we spent our own money on this one because we are collectors, but it's also important to us to bring you the latest news and reviews from those rare titles to the obvious ones. If you did enjoy it, consider hitting subscribe. We have a couple of huge giveaways coming up in the next week, as well as a big 1000 subscriber giveaway that we can't wait to share with you. Can someone just make a new Diddy Kong Racing now please and show them how this is done right? Include multiple difficulty options as well. Thanks so much for watching and we'll see you on the next Gaming X.